والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. Inshallah, don't worry, brothers. The issue is, the problem is, it's sad, but America, the way they've rigged everything, it's like everything is healthy, it's like it's expensive. And everything kills you and puts you in the hospital or puts you on meds is cheap. Back in the 60s, 70s, and I think the early 80s, it wasn't like that. McDonald's used to be expensive. And regular food, normal food, the people you're supposed to eat, was cheap. It was the opposite. It was. And McDonald's was only something on occasions, on Fridays, and that's it, because it was high. I remember when I was young, and my parents would say, that stuff is expensive. Fast food is expensive. Now they reversed it. They made it the opposite now. So now natural foods is hard to get. Natural, quote-unquote, organic foods is hard to get and expensive. And foods that kill you and get you and put you on meds is cheap. And now they rigged it where now fast food restaurants now, everything is cheap and affordable. You get 3 sandwiches for $1 menu or whatever. 3 meals, you get 3-4 sandwiches with nuggets for $4. Of course, a person has that, then they're gonna go eat it. They're like, $4, I can get all that food. All right, you understand what I'm saying? So it's just everything is the reversed opposite. It's just sad, man. It's just really sad. Like, this country is they mastered the art of decorating everything that's bad for you. They've mastered it. Masters of it. It's crazy. How you know it's bad for you? When you eat it and you see how you feel. And that's how you know it's bad for you. See how you feel. Like I said, alhamdulillah, I mean, for the most part, a lot of people, some people's bodies can process it a lot more efficiently than others. Yes, everybody's metabolism and everybody's body chemistry is different. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala aid us in this land we live in. Right, we start the class at 7:17 p.m. Sunday, January the 20th, 2018, which is now Jumad al-Ula, or on the Islamic calendar. This is Jumad al-Ula, the night, the 14th night of Jumad al-Ula, 1440, after the Hijrah of Mustafa alayhi salatu wassalam. We will continue in the chapter of Bab ma ja'ana sababa kufri bani Adam wa tarakahum dinahum al-ghuluwu fi as-salihin. The chapter which comes in the reason for the disbelief of the children of Adam and them leaving off the proper religion is extremism in regards to the righteous. We were talking about the different types of ghulu. Is that where we stopped at last class before we start on the new hadith of today on the authority of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud? As we continue, we stopped last class, as we were talking about the different types of extremism. And it's of different types. I don't know why I didn't turn the chapter. It's of different types. You have ghulu, you have extremism in beliefs, you have extremism in aqidah, you have extremism in belief, you have extremism in worship, you have extremism even in dealings, and others, in traditions. You have extremism in a lot of affairs that have destroyed a lot of people from the past and are destroying people currently. In modern day society we live in, you find extremism is destroying people left and right. The hardest affair is to accomplish is being moderate in all of one's affairs. And the most important of all affairs to be moderate in is in your belief system. In your belief system, which shaitan utilizes in tricks a lot of people today from being extreme in some matter where they went astray in, or being extreme on both sides at the same time. And the person can think, how's that happen? It does. A person can be gathered between both sides of extreme, being too hot or being too cold. As we talked about last class, we said that extremism of ghulu, the most dangerous is being extreme in the affairs of the belief system, in the aspect of creed and conviction you'll find that extremism in belief is the most dangerous of affairs. And the only way that one can remove extremism in his belief is to educate himself and to also cultivate himself and deep root himself in knowledge and proper knowledge. And not just reading books, but however, learning it at the hands of a qualified teacher with the proper aqidah and the proper credentials, of course, and the proper understanding. All that aids in one attaining and purifying his belief to the point where he does not fall into extremism. For we said, Ya ma'ashal ikhwa, al-ghulu and belief, we gave examples of that for the people of what? The people of the deviant sect, from the Asha'ira and the Maturidiyya and the Mu'tazila and the Jahmiyyah, who went into the extremes of not only in negation, but even in resemblance. They fell into both affairs of extremism, whether they realized it or not. And came as a result of it, they destroyed themselves. Especially in regards to people of philosophy and rhetoric, and the people of mantiq, of logic, and philosophy, and rhetoric. They also fell into the extreme of glorifying the intellect, as we talked about. And you'll find that the Asha'ira, they have taken a big portion of being affected by the people of logic and rhetoric and also philosophy. You'll find that the Asha'ira and the Maturidiyya, the reason why the Muslims started to glorify the intellect was based upon the books that they translated from Greece. Due to the fact that a lot of non-Muslims from the area of where currently Greece is and where currently Greece exists today, a lot of them the Muslims started translating their books of philosophy to the point where they started glorifying the intellect over revelation. Because you know a lot of the Greek philosophers were Greek. But a lot of the philosophers who were famous, who still to this day are considered people of high esteem and high status, with a lot of people these days, were Greek philosophers, such as Plato and Aristotle and Socrates and other than them. You'll find that a lot of their ideologies and concepts were translated into Arabic until the Muslims adopted it, which came as a result of it, these deviant sects. These deviant sects is what came as a result of translating the ideologies and the concepts and the beliefs of Greek philosophers and so-called thinkers. What came as a result of it was these deviant sects of the Asha'ira and the Maturidiyya and the Jahmiyyah and the Mu'tazila, where you'll find that they glorified the intellect and given precedence over the revelation. And this is a type of extreme for a person to raise the intellect to the degree or point where it takes precedence over what Allah and His Messenger says. And this is a type of extreme that's destroyed a lot of people. So we said also, as I explained to the sisters today, even in the class where we was teaching our sisters, you'll find, for example, another example of being extreme in belief. For example, what happened with the Qadr of the deviant sects, or the first of the deviant sects that appeared in Islam after the Khawarij and the Shia came the Qadariyah. He came the Qadariyah. The Qadariyah, well, some of them say that the Khawarij was first. Some of them say it's the Qadariyah or the Shia. But we know that they were from the first who emerged in the religion were the people of the Qadr. The people who deviated in the affairs of the divine decree of Allah. And you'll find that there was a sect that was extreme in affirming the Qadr of Allah. A person would think that, how can a person be extreme in affirming the Qadr of Allah? Don't worry, I'll explain it. Then you'll have those who are extreme in negating the Qadr of Allah. طيب, how's a person extreme in affairs of affirming the Qadr of Allah? A person would say, how can he go to the extreme in affirmation? Number one is what I explained to the sisters. You'll find from those who went to the extremes to the point where they snatched the will of the creation from the creation until they only affirmed it for Allah. As we know that the Qadr of Allah, the divine decree of Allah, affects the creation where they have their own will, and Allah Ta'ala has His will. And when we say will of the creation, meaning that the creation have their own choice to choose between what is good and what is wrong and what is correct and what is incorrect. That the creation has its will to choose and to differentiate between what is right and what is wrong and to choose that path. That is a will that's affirmed for the creation. You'll find there's a deviant sect who deviated in the Qadr, which is called the Jabriyah, as I said today. The Jabriyah believe that the actions of the slave have been forced upon him. He had no choice. He was forced by Allah. So they went into the extremes of affirmation of the Qadr of Allah to the point where they remove the free will of the creation. Meaning that the creation was forced to do actions. Now all their actions they done of good and evil are all been forced upon them. They had no choice. This is a type of extremism. This is a type of ghulu. To believe that the creation has no will. As I said today in the sisters class, if that was the case, then why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create paradise and hell? If the actions have been forced upon every of the slaves or the servants of Allah, why did Allah ta'ala create hell and paradise? Meaning that if the people were to be tortured or enter the hellfire, that means that they were tortured or put in hell by something they had no choice over. They were forced to do it. Why am I being punished for something I had no choice over? You understand what I'm saying, everyone? It doesn't make any sense. Why would I be punished for something I was forced to do? So that means that Allah created the inhabitants of hell unjustly. He created the inhabitants of hell to enter the hellfire unjustly. And He created the inhabitants of paradise to be in paradise just to joke around. Nobody earned it. Because at the end of the day, based upon the belief of this deviant creed in the Qadr, they were forced. So why is it the fact that one is being rewarded for something he's been forced, he had no choice over? And why is it that one is being punished for something he had no choice over? It doesn't make any sense. That's why the deviant ideologies of the Jabriyah, which is a type of deviance in the affairs of the divine decree of Allah, to believe that the actions of the slave have been forced upon him. It's a type of deviance in the affairs of the divine decree of Allah, which they went into the extremes of affirming the qadr of Allah for the will only being for Allah, not for the creation. So they've snatched the will from the creation and only affirmed it for who? For the creator. That's it, which is a type of extreme. Whereas the will of the creator has total dominance of the creation, of course, we know that. But to now remove the will from the creation and their own free choice is a type of extreme. Because like we said, if that was the case, why did Allah create paradise and hell? If now I'm going to enter the hellfire over something I had no control over. It doesn't make any sense. It's just like a person right now in this room tied you up right now. Tied you up and took a bottle of khamr and forced it down your throat. An individual. Some person, random person came, took a bottle of khamr, forced it down your throat, make you drink khamr. Then your father came in the room and he started what? Beating you. Why you drink khamr? And you would say, well, he tied me up and forced the bottle in my mouth. What was I supposed to do? So now your father comes in and found that you was intoxicated after something you were forced, and the bottle was forced in your mouth and the khamr was forced down your throat. So now your father comes in and starts beating you because you intoxicated yourself. Isn't that considered oppression? Isn't that considered oppression? To be beaten and to be disciplined over something you had no choice over. Somebody tied you up, put a gun to your head, forced the bottle down your throat. And then now your father found you like that, and he started lashing you, he started beating you up, or he started disciplining you. And you'll be looking like, what did I do? He tied me up, he put a gun in my head, he forced the bottle in my mouth. So now the fact that the father now came in and disciplined the child, this would be considered what, everyone? Oppression. So this is what the affairs of the Jabriyah necessitate. You understand what I'm saying? That the actions of the slave have been forced. So now a person will enter the hellfire based upon actions I had no control over. I was forced. Is it clear what I'm saying so far, everyone? So that's affirmation. Oh, that's extreme extremism in the affairs of the qadr. There's extremism in the affairs of the qadr, where a person affirms the divine decree of Allah, where they only affirm the will of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala without affirming the will of what? Or the free choice of what? The creation. That's a type of extremism. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Then you have the opposite side of the spectrum, as they say. Then you got opposite side of the extreme. A person will say, how's the opposite side of the extreme? Then you have the opposite side of the extreme. The opposite side of the extreme, brothers and sisters, where they are called the Qadariyah. The Qadariyah. They're on the opposite side of the extreme. Where you'll find that they affirm for the creation their will, where they snatch the will from the Creator. We reverse. We reverse the opposite of the first sect. So the first sect, they affirm the will without the creation. The Qadariyah is the opposite side of the extreme, where they affirm the will for the creation without who? Without the Creator. So that means that the creation have total, absolute domination and power over what takes place in this existence. And they control their own destiny. Of everything that takes place in their lives, whether it be big or small, they have full control and domination over it. That's deviance, where they were called the Qadariyah. The Qadariyah. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? So now those people now, like we said, have fell into another extreme, where they went to the extreme of affirming the will of the creation over the will of the Creator, where the Creator had no domination or power in their claim or in their belief, whereas the creation have full power and capability and domination of their destiny. And you'll find, like I said in the sisters' class today, that I mentioned and said that the Qadariyah and their belief system, who we're talking about now, you'll find that a person would say, Taib, how is this affecting us today? It does affect us today. You ever heard the statement, your destiny has not been written for you? You control your own destiny. Nothing has been written out for you yet. You make life is what you make it. Life is what you make it. Those are statements of the Qadariyah. Or for example, you'll find people out there that say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we're not going to wait for Allah to rectify our affairs. We need to rectify it. And people in this room know what I'm talking about, and some of the people online know exactly what I'm talking about and who I'm talking about. I'm not mentioning his name because it's me. His name is not even worth mentioning because it's clear he's upon misguidance. Taib, we not going to wait for Allah to rectify our affairs. We made this mess and we need to rectify it. Whoa. Wow. This is what we're talking about, which is what? Deviance in the affair of the what? Of the qadr. Deviance in the affair of the beliefs of the divine decree of Allah. So you're saying that now, Allah, so the fact that what has happened, wasn't it decreed by Allah even if it was something evil? It was decreed. We're not going to wait for Allah to rectify this. We made this mess. We need to clean it up. Yeah, of course you made this mess, but Allah that decreed it, and the only way it can be changed is by Allah ultimately, after you've rectified yourself. Taib. And you cannot rectify yourself except by what? Except by the will of Allah. However, which goes on to what? Affirm what Ahlul Sunnah believe. So now you see the wickedness of this sect, of this type of extreme, this type of extremism. Like I said, you will hear statements out there, people making these statements, that your history, your destiny hasn't been written out for you yet. You hear certain people say that. I'm sure some of you have heard these statements. Life is totally what you make it to be. No, it isn't. Life is what I have a choice to do, but ultimately the final affair goes back to Allah, what He determines to be the final outcome. Because I can study and study and study and be diligent and still come to a day and something happen where I don't make the test, or I might get sick, or I might fail it, even though I put forth my best effort in what? Into doing what was correct. How many people out there that have what? Worked diligently and hard in college for 8 years and 10 years. And some of them, after they finish their studies, can't find a job. Ultimately, the affair goes back to Allah. Even though you've been commanded to do and carry out what will rectify your life, no doubt, nobody's negating that. That we've been commanded to do that. We're talking about ultimately the affair is decided by Allah Ta'ala. Even though we've been commanded to still carry out what will benefit us in our lives and in our religion. So you can't now knock that out the box and say, well, I'm not going to study. Ultimately, the affair goes back to Allah. No, we're not saying that. That's another type of extreme. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? So what we're saying is that the moderate course is to believe, to sum it up, that the creation has their will and the Creator has His will too. Both. The will of the creation falls behind the will of the Creator. That's the belief of Ahlul Sunnah. The will of the creation falls behind the will of the Creator. Even though at the same time, you still have the choice. And the choice also determines whether or not that will be a road for you to be increased either in guidance or misguidance. That's based upon the ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says clearly in His book, فَلَمَّا زَاغُوا أَزَاغَ اللَّهُ قُلُوبَهُمْ. When they went astray, Allah sent their hearts astray. So when they chose misguidance, Allah what? Increased them in that. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? And just like when people chose guidance, Allah what? Increased them in that. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? See how all these affairs of Aqeedah of Ahlul Sunnah, it absolutely makes sense. It's clear as the sun of the sky. Anybody that hears it, it's like, that's a no-brainer. You feel at ease, relax, because it makes sense. It agrees with your fitrah. The ideologies and the concepts of the deviant sects is absolutely confusing. The Jabriyya and the Qadariyya, that's confusing. That will cause you to have doubt in your religion. Understand, everyone? طيب. So those are different types of extremes in affairs of belief, which is the most dangerous, the most detrimental, and they are the most what? They are the most tragic if a person falls into being misguided in them. They are the most dangerous. That's the reason why we started off with the head of all the categories. طيب. So we also talked about last class extremism in affairs of worship. We also talked about that. Alhamdulillah. I don't know why I didn't put that right there. We also talked about the affairs of what? Of being extreme in worship. Extreme in worship. Extreme in worship. It was of different examples that we gave last class. We gave examples of being extreme in worship. Extreme in worship from being like the Sufis. For those who introvert themselves and being like monks and being in a monastery, what they call rahbaniyah. Monsticism, if you want to say, for lack of better words. Or being inverted or being introverted and isolated, so-called, and was similar to a monastery, where you now made yourself alone. We just devote towards worship all day, night long. That's extremism in worship. You understand, everyone? It's extremism in the affairs of ibadah, in which resembles the rahbaniyah of the Christians, of being celibate, and also being what they call, if we know these days and times, of being preachers or priests, which is a so-called resemblance to rahbaniyah, to being so-called like in a monastery, where so-called say a man is devoted to a will of God, where they've cut all the affairs that helps them live comfortably as a human being. They cut themselves off from that, which, like we said, was a type of extremism in the affairs of worship that Allah did not legislate for them. And like I talked about last class, you find the result of them practicing it is either they fall into what? Touching innocent children. A lot of them, they either fall into either what? Touching little boys or girls from practicing this type of practice that Allah did not legislate upon them. As Allah clearly said that in His final revelation, that this was a fair rahbaniyah, that they innovated, that we did not make it wajib or obligatory for them to practice. except to seek the face of Allah, and despite of them making this obligatory upon themselves, they were not able to fulfill it. You'll find that many of the priests of these days, they either fall into touching little kids, or that you'll find them being homosexual, or you'll find them practicing, having sex with prostitutes, or you'll find them getting married secretly. All of that is to let you know exactly what Allah said in the Quran is exactly what's their state. Because they made something of a what? Extremism in the affairs of what? Of worship. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? And even the nuns too also fall into it. As I read just recently, somebody that I read about some of the nuns who practice prostitution, or they were secretly having intimacy. Yes, because it's something it goes against them being human beings. Or they secretly get married. Some of them, they'll secretly get married, and they won't let it get out because it goes against them what they're trying to what? Profess of so-called religiously high or high monarchy type of religious people. So they keep it what? Swept under the rug if they so-called get married secretly. You understand, everyone? So these are affairs of worship, like we said before. Not getting married is a type of extremism. Not having children is a type of extremism. Also fasting for all your life is extremism. And also likewise praying all night. Praying all night without what? Getting sleep is also a type of extremism. Except in certain occasions that it is legislated if one has the time. Such as the last 10 nights of Ramadan. And still, that's still only in the ability of the individual. You understand, everyone? Because we know that the Messenger of Allah did not make standing the last 10 nights of Ramadan or the month of Ramadan. He did not make it wajib, but he highly emphasized it according to the ability of the individual. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So those extremism in the affairs of ibadah. It's extremism in the affairs of worship, which led to the road of destruction to a lot of people. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? All these different various scenarios that we just given, those all is a reason of destruction of certain people. That people that do this, you'll find that they either deviate or they leave Islam totally because they think it's too hard. It's too hard. This is too extreme. I can't take it. All these affairs, like we said last class, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ clearly said in narration, in al-munbit, la ardan qata' wa la dhahran abqa. Said, verily the riding beast, when you start off fast, it has a long distance to travel. He said, either it will not cut all the distance, that won't cut all the distance as it's supposed to what? Traverse over until you finish your goal, reach your destination. And if you keep going fast and it's so long distance to go, you're going to kill your riding beast to the point it won't remain on the earth. It's going to die. So you never reach ultimately your what? Your goal. Went extremely fast. However, the Messenger of Allah said, أَوْغَلُوا فِيهِ وَأَوْغِلُوا فِيهِ بِالرِّفْقِ. He said, go and traverse upon the path with gentleness, meaning gradually. Take your time. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So that's what we were talking about, extremism as far as in affairs of what? Of worship. Also in the belief system, we already talked about that. Like, as far as in regards to even mu'amalat and dealings, we also talked about that. We talked about how people out there who make everything haram. Everything's haram, 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 haram. People are extreme out there from some of the Muslims that have heard this. You can't drink that, akhi. You can't drink Pepsi. You can't eat Doritos. You can't. We're not saying from the aspect of health we could debate that, yes. But to say it's haram, that's a whole nother extreme. You can fall into ghulu. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? From the aspect of it's debatable as far as health, no doubt. But as far as to say it's haram, you understand what I'm saying, everyone? That's a whole nother extreme you reached. And Allah Ta'ala has condemned this. He said, وَلَا تَقُولُ لِمَا تَصِفُ أَلْسِنَتُكُمْ هَذَا حَلَالٌ وَهَذَا حَرَامٌ لِتَفْتَرُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبِ إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَفْتَرُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبَ لَا يُفْلِحُونَ. Allah has made that clear in His book. He says this. He says, do not describe or try to say what your tongue say, or try to describe what your tongue say, that this is halal, this is haram, in order to fabricate upon Allah a lie. Verily, those who fabricate upon Allah a lie will never succeed. A short period of time of enjoyment in this world and a whole lot of torment in the hereafter. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? So that's an ayah where Allah Ta'ala says, هَذَا حَلَالٌ وَهَذَا حَرَامٌ لِتَفْتَرُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبِ. In order that you invent or fabricate upon Allah a lie. Verily, those who invent and fabricate upon Allah a lie will never prosper. They'll never succeed. You'll find I've heard brothers and sisters say this, Ya akhi, stay away from eating those chips, it's haram. You'd be like, bro, slow your roll. You understand, everyone? That's now you went to a ghulu, it's extremism. And a lot of those brothers that I've seen do this, they start returning back to doing that. What they say was haram, you see them eating Doritos a year, 2 years later, if not more than that. The same ones that tell you it's haram today will be the same ones doing worse in the future. I've seen this happen, brothers. And also, likewise, those who have said that meat is haram. I'm not talking about you, Jafar. Don't think it's to you. We're talking about what's in the book, because I don't want you to think that. Got to keep the shaitan out of our relationships. That's for example, what Ahl Ilm mentioned and say about listen, you don't, eating meat is haram. Haram. You understand, everyone? Eating meat is haram. They say, whoa. You understand? Whoa. It's haram, you can't eat meat. That's extremism, that's ghulu in the mu'amalat, in the aspect of what? In the aspect of dealings and transactions, just real mere transactions and dealings of what's pertaining to eating and diet. That's extremism. If you preferably want to eat it or avoid it because of health reasons, fine. It goes back to you. That's your affair. But to now come with a hukm shara'i of Kitaab and Sunnah to say that what you're eating is haram, meaning that if I was to eat this meat, that I am punishable by hell and I have to make tawbah to Allah because of it. That's a whole other level you've taken it to. Because you have to realize when you say something's haram, you're doing that. No, I'll say you're doing that to prove a point. No, I was just joking with you. No, Jamar was eating some candy and he was smiling like, yeah. To bring a hukm shara'i, to bring a ruling in the religion, to say something is haram, meaning that if I do it, I am punishable by Allah because of it. That's what haram means. Meaning I have a sin where I'm punishable for my Lord if I do it. You understand, everyone? You have to know and realize what you're saying out your mouth before you say it. So someone now, they eat some meat, and you say, akhi, that's haram. Whoa. So you mean to tell me if I eat this right now, it's meat, that I'm going to be punished in hell for it and I have to make tawbah? Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? This is a type of extremism. And like I said, I've never seen people that was like this from my whole experience in Dawah, from the 90s up to now, except they be the main ones doing that after a time period it goes on. Those who said that Pepsi's haram, Doritos haram, candy's haram, all this is haram, they be the main ones indulging in it either behind closed doors, they doing it themselves, or later on down the line they're doing it. And then not only that they do it, they're going also, they start binging on it. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So like we said, if you want to say from the aspect of health, we could debate all day, of course, no doubt. Of course, even me, I don't condone Pepsi. I'm sure brothers in this classroom know that. But neither now to say it's haram, no. You understand, everyone? Bad for your health? Yes. Haram? Whoa. You understand, everyone? Slow your roll. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Right. So what we're saying is these are all the different types of extremes that we give examples of, where people are extreme in the aspect of mu'amalat, of dealings. On one aspect, we're saying everything's haram without a clear text. Then you got the opposite side of the ghulu, where people will say everything's halal now. Because you have those people are extreme. Everything's halal. Intoxicant? No, that's not intoxicant. That's a refreshing drink. No, it's not a refreshing drink. It's still intoxicant. You understand, everyone? Oh, that's not intermingling. That's Islamic gatherings. You understand? Just because you put Islamic on it does not make it what? Right. That's what you'll find a lot of the deviant sects of today do, especially the Ikhwanis. They'll put Islamic to justify it. So if I put pork on pork and I say Islamic pork, does it make it right? No. You understand, everyone? You can't put Islamic pork or Islamic dancing or Islamic music. Does that make any sense? Just because you put Islamic behind the word term music does not make it now right. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So you'll find that there are people out there for the Muslims that do this. And this is exactly what Ahl Ilm have mentioned and said, especially Shaykh Uthaymeen. He even mentioned and said that you'll find people out there that declare everything to be halal. He says they'll make riba halal. He even said this. He said, وَقَابَلَ هَذَا التَّشَدُّدْ تَسَاهُلْ مَنْ قَالْ بِحِلِّ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ ينمي المال ويقوي الاقتصاد حتى الربا والغش وغير ذلك فهؤلاء والعياذ بالله متطرفين بالتساهل فتجده يكذب في ثمنها وفي وصفها وفي كل شيء لأجل أن يكسب فلسا يعني فلوس فلسا وفلسين وهذا لا شك أنه تطرف. He says on the opposite side of this type of extreme we just talked about, a person would say everything's haram. Everything's haram. Ya akhi, you need to be in a masjid all day. You going out and working, that's haram. You need to be devoted in a masjid 24 hours a day. That's extreme. You understand, everyone? Then you'll find the opposite side of the spectrum where people what? Go to another extreme, and they're in the utmost of what they call negligence. Tasahul. Tasahul meaning negligence, he says, well, you'll find it that they say that everything is lawful. Bihilli kulli shay. That your person will try to now augment his money or increase his money or strengthen the economy, even with what? With usury types of, or usury practices or methods where they involved inside of riba or cheating or lying. You'll find they're extreme in negligence. You'll find that they'll lie in its price, they'll lie in its description, all of that in the so-called claim or under the guise that I'm trying to earn a penny. I'm trying to earn some money. He said, no doubt that this is extremism. All of these different various scenarios, brothers, are extremism of what has destroyed people from the past. We know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the punishment of those who lied in their transactions. As it comes in Surah Al-Mutaffifin. Allah ta'ala talked about those who used to lie to people in their business transactions. To lie to them. Or they used to try to now cheat in their weight of how they used to weigh their products and cheat in as far as in his wazn or in his weight on the scale. And then they will lie to the customer in order to gain some more profit and money in a very slick, conniving way. All those affairs are what? Impermissible, and it's a type of extreme in which people have fell into, which came as a result of it. Allah ta'ala set the punishment down on them. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? All these scenarios and extremes will destroy you. And they're all different types and scenarios of extremism. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear? طيب. Next hadith. ميثار عبد الله بن مسعود. يسوي لي مسع عن ابن مسعود أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال هلك المتنطعون قالها ثلاثا. When the message of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم said يثار عبد الله بن مسعود عبد الله بن مسعود بن غافل الهذلي, the great Sahabi. Ibn Abd, that the message of Allah said that the mutanatti', the one who's extreme, is destroyed. The one who's extreme is destroyed. The one who's extreme is destroyed. Mutanatti'. It's the same. I think it's kind of like a synonym. He's ruined, destroyed. They're all kind of close in its meaning. He's ruined, he's destroyed. طيب, the word متنطع. 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 The Prophet ﷺ used the word متنطع. What is متنطع? متنطع, and it's also is a التقعر, التعمق, التقعر, التشدق. The person would say, what are you talking about? طيب, linguistically, The meaning of tanattu' is someone that uses very, very eloquent speech to the point where nobody understands what they're talking about. Politicians, no, they're using, not only that, because sometimes politicians comes with terms. That's just in the field, they come with terms. But if they come, if a person comes with words that is rarely used to the point where it's going over the heads of the people, that's a type of tanattu'. It's a tanattu'. That's the extremism that the Messenger of Allah was talking about. So tanattu' is origin is a taqa'ur fil kalam, to go real deep and extreme in using rarely used vocabulary words in speech. Is it clear? No, it ends with a ayn. Tanattu'. With a ayn. Tanattu'. I'll tell it to you later. Tanattu'. Tanattu'. Well, here's what tanattu'. At any rate, tanattu', like we said, is to use rarely use speech in order to manifest eloquence to the people. It's as if he's trying to like basically show that I understand that you guys are all what? Uneducated and stupid. You'll find that there's some people out there that do this. To make a person feel like they're uneducated, less than. They come with speech or vocabulary words that are rarely used, rarely. Going so deep to the point where they can't understand everything. They can't understand certain things. As far as politicians, they do fall into this. They fall into a lot of other stuff too. But not just bringing speech. But some of them bring a lot of their terms because they study that. That's in their area and line of field of politics. They study it. So Allah knows best, they could fall into this, but a lot of them use terminologies that they study and they understand amongst themselves because they studied it. So no one should turn on TV and say, man, these people are highly educated. No, they're not. They studied that's their field. It's just like you were in the medical term or medical field and they use certain terminologies and you don't understand it. That's not extremism. That's just in their particular field that they work in. Certain words that they use, they understand it amongst themselves because they studied it. You understand, everyone? But there's no doubt that some of them, I don't think Trump uses those words, but at any rate, but as far as in regards to what? Usually if a person comes with words, knowing that the people in front of him don't understand what he's saying, this is what the Messenger of Allah is speaking about. Is it clear what I'm saying? And you'll find that there are callers out there that do this. Callers that will come with some long words, even though they know what they're saying in its origin, the whole thing that they're saying is all wrong. But the people will agree with it just because he used some words that went over their head. I've seen this happen. Someone used a lot of words, and they'll just say, oh, yeah, we agree with him because it sounds good. Do you know what he's talking about? Not really. So you basically agree with him because it sounds good, not because you understood him. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? Doesn't make sense. And you'll find there are people out there that do this. I've seen callers of falsehood, not Salafis. Callers of falsehood do this. They'll come with some speech that goes over the head of the people, using vocabulary words that a lot of people don't know. Or some of the rare people that actually studied English know those words, the meanings of it. But for you sitting in front of gatherings, knowing that the people are on different levels as far as their education, and to use words that go over their head, this is what we're talking about. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? So a person would say, what's your dalil? My dalil is this. Listen to what even Sheikh Salih Fawzan mentioned in this regard. Listen to what he says. He said, وَكَذَلِكَ مِنَ التَّنَطُّعِ فِي الْكَلَامِ يُخَاطِبَ الْحَاضِرِينَ بِأَشْيَاء لَا يَفْهَمُونَهَا الناس بحاجة إلى أن يبين لهم عقيدتهم وعبادتهم وطهارتهم وعملاتهم ثم يذهب يتكلم في أشياء بعيدة عنهم بل بعيدة من مجتمعهم. Listen to what he says. He says from a type of tanattu', what the Messenger of Allah prohibited. He says that you address people who's present around you with things they don't understand. You understand? You understand? For you to address them in a manner they don't understand. You see how our religion is complete. It even teaches us how to give dawah and how to address people. That you take in consideration to a point where we have dalil and text to teach us how to address people. This increases us in iman to let us know whereupon is the truth. Because the Messenger of Allah condemned the individual that what? Comes with a gather of people, and there's different people of different educational levels, different people on levels as far as understanding and as far as their education. And now you bringing something that's only catered towards one group, where the other ones are looking at you like, what are you talking about? Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So the Messenger of Allah condemned this. So this is what Shaykh Salih Fawzani goes on to say. He says, so the people are in need that you clarify to them their aqeedah and their worship and their purification and their dealings and their transactions. He said, then you go and speak in affairs that's so far from them, so far from their understanding, so far from the society they live in. He says, you'll find that they talk about affairs of politics. Fi umur siyasa. Speaking about affairs of politics, affairs that are far away, affairs of the country, affairs of leadership, affairs of cable. You need to watch TV, watch the news to keep up with the current events that was going on. In order to attain the fiqh of waqi', you'll find them say. In order to attain fiqh of today's times, in order to obtain fiqh, true fiqh in the religion, you need to watch cable. Person would say, is that true? Yes. You'll find that some of the people even of the past, of the deviant sects, especially from the Khawarij from some of the things they used to say that is so funny and so stupid. They say in order for you to attain fiqh, don't read the books of ahkam, so you can tell the people what's correct in regards to one being harmets or not. Don't worry about that. You need to turn on the cable and watch TV so you can attain true fiqh in the religion, which is called fiqh al-waqi'. You understand, everyone? The only way you could do that is by attaining by watching cable. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? So you'll find that the people, I'm not talking about keeping up with the current events. Nobody's saying don't keep up what's going on around you. We're talking about connecting it with the religion and saying that the only way you can attain true fiqh is by watching cable. That in the statement in itself is absolute stupidity. You understand, everyone? Is it clear what I'm saying? Nobody, like I said, I don't want nobody to understand or misunderstand what I'm saying is don't keep up with what's going on around you. We're not saying that. Watch the news to the point where you know keep up what's going on around you. That's important. We're talking about tying it all in with what? The religion is saying you can't attain true fiqh by studying these affairs in your books. You have to turn on CNN and sit back for 2 or 3 hours and watch it until you attain true fiqh in the religion, which is called fiqh al-waqi', which is called fiqh of waqi', of the true reality of what's going on. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? He says, for a person now that stands in front of the people, because you'll find there are callers on the microphone, they will say that to you. Turn on the cable channel and watch it so you can turn on and know what's going on so you can attain true fiqh in the religion. For affairs, these affairs are far away from the what? From the common folk, Shaykh Salih Fawzan says. He said they don't benefit anything from it. He says you'll find that they leave out ignorant just as they came in what? Ignorant. They don't know the affairs of their religion. He says a lot of the common folk don't know how to pray right. A lot don't even know how to make wudu right. A lot of them don't even know how to make a ghusl from a janaba after sexual relations properly. A lot of them come in ignorant and they don't benefit from the speech that the person is addressing them with. And this is the type of tanat' that the Messenger of Allah is talking about here. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear? The whole intent of a person speaking and addressing people is to what? Make sure they understand. That everyone understands. But however, this individual that comes with this type of speech that's decorated and embellished, which means decorated, you'll find that he what? Comes in order to show and display to the people, see, I'm the one that understands. All you guys, and this is how you say in an indirect way, you stupid, uneducated people, I'm going to say, and you will find that they come with this demeanor, some of them. They come, and even I'll bring a text to show that some of them, how they become amazed at themselves. And they start talking with a type of demeanor like you're just so stupid and I'm so educated. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? Like you're so uneducated and beneath me, and that the people who understand my level, you understand that's good for you. As far as you other idiots, they're not saying it verbally, but the way they're speaking, it's as if they what? That's as if they're saying it. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? So you'll find, like we said, they'll try to display that they're the ones that understand, and they're the ones that's educated, even if it's at the expense of those who are present, that they don't understand and they don't know anything. This is the tanattu' that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ is talking about here. And there's other examples of tanattu' in which we'll give, inshallah, in a couple of minutes. So this type of tanattu', ya ma'ash al-ikhwa, and I'm going to even confirm exactly what Shaykh Uthaymeen says. A person would say, what's your delay for the Abdurrazzaaq? He says, and listen to this. He says, this is what Shaykh Uthaymeen says. He said, حتى إنه ربما يقترن بتعمقه وتنطعه الإعجاب بالنفس في الغالب. Listen to this. He says, as a person that he comes and he brings along with his expressions that are real rare and using as far as his vocabulary, and him going so deep and going so extreme, he brings along with it him being amazed at himself. He brings along with it being amazed at himself in most cases. You'll find that when he speaks with his nose. You understand, everyone? He said, يَتَكَلَّمْ بِأَنْفِهِ. He'll speak with his nose. Like, you understand? And if you try to give him salams, he even tries to salam you back with his nose. As you see some of them do. He says it's tanattu', extremism with action. He says that you'll find in most cases that this tanattu' usually leads to being amazed at yourself and also being arrogant. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? You'll find that what Ahl Ilm mentioned here is true. It is very true. The majority of du'ats that come with this type of way, these du'ats of falsehood, that come with this type of way, this is exactly what they do. You'll find the majority of them, you'll sense from them a sense of arrogance and belligerence and them looking it down upon people. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? He says, what tanattu' also, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said that from the ways of those who destroy. So we talked about it linguistically. We talked about that linguistically already, alhamdulillah. He says also for the linguistic aspect, alhamdulillah, we already spoke about that. We know that the hadith, or the narration upon Ali ibn Abi Talib refutes this. Of being or showing or displaying eloquence to the point where or at a level in which a lot of the people don't understand. Or speaking of affairs that the people are not ready for yet. Is also a type of tanattu'. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? Speaking in affairs of the religion that the people have not reached the level for you to teach them yet. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? That's based upon the athar of Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu. سَحَدِّثِ النَّاسِ بِمَا يَعْرِفُونَ. Speak to the people according to what they know. Do you want that Allah and His Messenger be belied? You understand? And it's another narration, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said that you will talk about an affair that does not reach their minds, meaning their minds are not ready for it yet, except it will be for some of them a fitna. You understand? Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? He says that some you say it will not reach their minds, meaning their minds are not ready for it yet. They haven't reached the level yet. Except it will be for some of them a fitna, a trial or test. All these are affairs, ya ma'ash al-ikhwa, shows how complete and beautiful our religion is. To show how we're supposed to what? Teach the people. Gradually building up their level. You understand what I'm saying? So, and that's the meaning of the word Rabbani. Rabbani. Rabbani is a person that teaches the people what? The small, minor affairs before the major ones. When you say that individual is Rabbani. Rabbani means يَعْلِمَ النَّاسِ صِغَارَ الْمَسَائِلِ قَبْلَ كِبَارِهَا. He teaches the people the minor affairs that are simple for them to understand before the major ones. So now when you build their level up, you're able now to teach them something that their minds are ready to now what? Understand. Is it clear, everyone, what I'm saying? Is it clear or is it not clear? Jayyid. So all this is also from tanattu'. Tanattu'. طيب, you also have tanattu' in the affairs of what you call of using things as an evidence or proof. So the first type of tanattu' is in speech, meaning going to the extremes of decorating your speech so eloquently to the point where it goes over everyone's head. That's a type of tanattu'. You have another type of tanattu', Kaden. Another one is and how you use as an evidence or proof something. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is based upon what the people of misguidance do, such as the people of logic, the people of philosophy, and the people of rhetoric. That's also a type of extreme where you'll find that they give precedence to what? To philosophy, logic, rhetoric, and what agrees with their intellects over the religion. I'll say it again. What they call tanattu' fil istidlal. Extremism in the affairs, or if you want to say, using something as a dalil. Meaning, all those people we just mentioned from philosophers, people of logic, what do they use as evidence usually? Kitaab and Sunnah, what do they use as evidence? Their intellects, their minds. Logical speech, or something that they think is so-called logically acceptable, or we can logically explain this. You'll find that there's no one that indulged from any person of the past in any of these affairs, except that you'll find they were destroyed, and they severely regretted themselves busying themselves with these matters. There's no one that entered in logic or philosophy and claimed that he's Muslim, except that those scholars of the past, from the heads, that involved themselves in it, you'll find at the end of their lives they really regretted it because they wasted their time. You'll find in a lot of poetry, a lot of them regretting it the same. From them was Fakhr al-Razi. Fakhr al-Razi. And also Shahrastani. Shahrastani is also from the ulama of the past who regretted that he busied himself with what? With rhetoric and logic and philosophy. He regretted it in the end. Fakhr al-Razi, Shahrastani, also Imam al-Haramain al-Juyani, al-Juyani, I think it's the Abdul Malik al-Juyani of the past. Was it Jayani? I don't want to get it right because I don't want nobody to get it mixed up with somebody else. طيب. But Imam al-Haramain is al-Juyani. I found this in my book. But at any rate, Fakhr al-Razi had regretted in the end that he regretted with busying himself with what? Logic and rhetoric and philosophy. He regretted it in the end. So he said in his speech, لَعَمْلِي لَقَدْ طِفْتُ بَيْنَ الْمَعَاهِدِ كُلَّهَا وَصَيَّرْتَ النَّظْرِ بَيْنَ تِلْكَ الْمَعَالِمِ وَلَمْ أَرَ إِلَّا وَاضِعًا كَفَّ حَائِرِي عَلَى ذَقْنٍ أَوْ قَارِعًا سِنَّ النَّادِمِ. He said in his poetry. He says, لَعَمْرِي لَقَدْ طِفْتُ بَيْنَ الْمَعَاهِدِ كُلِّهَا وصيرت النظر بين تلك المعالم ولم أرى إلا واضعا كف حائري على ذقن أو قارعا سن نادمي, as he said in his poetry. Was it Shahrastani? I think it was Shahrastani said this. Shahrastani. At any rate, Shahrastani said because of him, he regretting him busying himself with logic and rhetoric and philosophy. He regretted it. So he said in his poetry, he says, by my life, he said, لَعَمْرِي. He said, verily, I made tawaf, meaning I studied all these different sciences, meaning of logic, philosophy, and glorifying the mind and the intellect. He said in the end, وَلَمْ أَرَ إِلَّا وَاضِعَ كَفَّ حَائِرِي. He said, I did not see except a hand of an individual. He's talking about himself. A hand individual who's in a state of bewilderment and confusion. He says, عَلَى ذَقِنٍ أَوْ قَارِعًا سِنَّ نَادِمِ. Meaning scratching my chin or becoming older and older, and I'm regretting that I busy myself in it. He said, Qari and sinna nadimi, meaning I'm starting to get older at an age where now I'm regretting. I'm an age at regret. As we know, when you get older, you think about certain things you wasted your time in, so you just beat yourself up over what? Things you regretfully have done. So that's what he's talked about as far as what? As far as busying himself with what? Speech. And I think, like I said, that's ascribed to Shahrastani. I'm going to check. There's another poetry by Fakhr Razi, rahimahullah. They also mentioned and said about him busying himself with rhetoric and logic. He said it in a long poetry. He said, نهاية إقدام العقول عقال وأكثر السعي العالمين ضلال وأرواحنا في وحشة من جسومنا وغاية دنيانا أذى ووبال ولم نستفد من بحث لا طول عمرنا سواء جمعنا فيه قيل وقالوا. That poetry is ascribed to Fakhr Razi. Fakhr Razi said, he said, the nihayatu iqdam al-uquli iqalu. He said the ending result of the intellect and the mind is what? Is iqal, is difficulty, meaning absolute confusion. He said nihayatu iqdam al-uquli iqalu. The ending result of you using your intellect and putting it over everything is what? It's confusion. He said, وَأَكْثَرُ السَّعِيِّ الْعَالَمِينَ ضَلَالُ. He says that majority of the creation, what they set out for is misguidance. And our souls are alone within ourselves. Meaning we're feeling depressed and confused. Because he's regretting that he busied himself with what? Logic and what? Rhetoric. وَأَرْوَاحُنَا فِي وَحْشَةٍ مِّن جُسُومِنَا وَغَايَةُ دُنْيَانَا أَذًا وَوَبَالُ. He said you'll find that the ultimate goal of us in this dunya was all regretful and all reprehensible. It was all harmful and it was reprehensible. He said, وَلَمْ نَسْتَفِدْ مِنْ بَحْثِنَا طُولَ عُمْرِنَا سِوَاءً جَمَّعْنَا فِيهِ قِيلَ وَقَالُوا. And we did not benefit from our research which we used to do, except that we only gathered in it, he said and she said. No more, no less. Wasted their time. The ultimate goal was what? All what? Confusion and wasted time. You'll find that the majority of those who busied themselves with ilm al-kalam, if you was to read some of their statements, of how some of them reached the level of kufr, and how some of them used to say to their own followers, do you believe Allah exists? They'll say, yes, of course. They'll say, praise your Lord. What do you think he said? Why he's saying that? Because he has himself some doubt. You understand? He said, Ihmad Rabbak. You believe Allah exists? He said, yeah, praise Allah. Praise Allah for that. Meaning I don't. I have some doubt. Because of what? Because of what, everyone? Because of rhetoric, logic, philosophy. Is it clear what I'm saying? Is it clear? You sure? You with me today? Somewhat? Yeah, we'll stop here. We'll stop here. Is everything was clear in the lesson, everyone? طيب. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Brothers and sisters, also I don't want everyone to think that it's not permissible to use eloquence at certain times. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? As far as the refutations and when